Since 1998, Stamps.com has been an indispensable tool for nearly 1 million businesses. Stamps.com brings the services of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS shipping right to your computer. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. All you need is a computer and a standard printer. No special supplies or equipment. And within minutes, you're up and running, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. And you'll get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. No traffic, no lines. Cut the confusion out of shipping. With Stamps.com's new Rate Advisor tool, you can compare shipping rates and timelines to easily find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk, and with our promo code POD, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in POD. That's Stamps.com, promo code POD POD. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Hi everyone, welcome back to True Crime Buzz. I'm your host Brittany, and with me as always is Amber.
Hello.
Hi, what are you drinking this evening?
I am happy to report I finally got my pumpkin beer back.
Whoop whoop.
Shout out to Max. I guess it's called Max Liquor Store. I don't know. I just remember it was called Max. We went to Atlanta for the Metallica show, and they had literally everything you could ever think of. All the wine, everything. I got a bottle of wine. I saw my favorite pumpkin beer, the Southern Tier Brewing Company Warlock. And I was like, oh, they had boxes, and I had to stop myself from buying all the cases and bringing them all home. But I just bought one.
I'm honestly surprised that you did not.
I almost did. But the only reason I didn't is because Atlanta has the bird scooters. And so I had to only buy enough that I could hold it and scoot back to the hotel. And so, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What you drinking?
I am drinking, as usual, Diet Sam's Cola.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Diet Coke this time because you've been on that Diet Coke roll lately.
Well, it's because they keep substituting it. I don't know who my competition is for Diet Sam's Cola in my new town, but they need to stop.
What are they giving you?
Diet Coke, which is cool and all, but I'm used to Diet Sam's Cola. And
do they taste different? I'm curious, because you know some stuff tastes the same.
I would have told you no, but after 2 weeks straight of drinking only Diet Coke and then having to switch back over, there's a little bit of a difference. I had to readjust.
These are the real problems that we face as adults, right?
Yes. Speaking of real problems, do you have a personal true crime for the week?
Oh, Lord. Which one do I choose? Just today alone. Let's see. You pulled me away from a Tom Hardy movie that was on TV to record. So that's a true crime.
I'm so sorry.
We had to postpone this recording because I scratched the shit out of my eye. And so Brittany's over here watching me wink at her the whole time. And it's not fun. Thanks, contacts. Anyone who has to deal with contacts knows the struggle when you scratch your eye. It was bothering me all day today, and I just kept dealing with it. And I'm like, I really need to take this out. I hate wearing my glasses, especially with masks.
Yes.
You have glasses and you have to wear a damn mask. They fog up. I had to go grocery shopping, so I was like, when I get back from grocery shopping, I'll finally take this booger out. And I took it out, and I could just feel it just scraping my eyelid. There was something stuck between my eye and my contact, so...
Yeah, my middle child tells me all the time that her glasses fog up at school with her mask.
And it's so annoying.
Oh, it has to be.
But those two are not my personal true... They are personal true crimes, but I've got one better.
Oh, my.
So, you know, I've been doing some yoga lately.
Yes.
I've been getting my yoga on every week, and I have been loving it. However, The class that I do, they offer heated classes, like the hot yoga, where they turn the temperature way up and get your sweat on while you're doing yoga.
Right.
But the class that I do is right after the hot yoga class. And they always run late. So every time I get there, they open the door and let all the class out. And they let our class in, which is an unheated class. But it is already like a sauna in there. And every time I still sweat. And I just think hot yoga in general should be a true crime. Like, it shouldn't be a thing.
I'm sure there's people that love it.
There are, and they're psychos, and good for you. I'm hot-natured anyways. Like, all yoga is hot yoga to us big girls, okay?
Yes.
Let me have my yoga in a nice, cool room in peace.
Yes. Well, you do the relaxing yoga, too, so...
I do, yes. I do the calm, like, meditative yoga because my job stresses me out. Not this job, my full-time job.
Don't lie. This one, too.
This one kind of stresses me out.
Says the person that was up at 1 o'clock in the morning doing work for the podcast.
You gotta do what you gotta do. It's a labor of love, like you said.
It is. That's true.
So, all right, I'm dying to hear. What's your personal true crime this week?
I almost got stopped from going into Walmart. I can't say I almost got kicked out because... So, I have to go pick up my kid's medication today, and I had to schedule like not an emergency, but a last-minute appointment for them yesterday, which was smack in the middle of the day, and I love their pediatrician, but he takes hours. I mean, he's thorough, but it's hours. Mm-hmm. So, what should have been a 3-day week for my kids this week ended up being a 2-day week. So, today, I was able to go pick it up. I get there, I pull up, I call like I always do. It is cloudy. Okay, let me preface this by saying it's cloudy. There's no rain, not a drop of rain, okay? And I call, and the lady was so rude to me. She was like, well, there's a couple of people in front of you, and it's been raining on and off all day. I live 2 minutes from the Walmart. It's not rained all day.
What does it matter if it's been raining?
I don't know, but she's like, can you not just come in? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll get my 3 kids out and come in. And I swear to you, because it takes me a while, I have 1 still in a car seat and 2 in booster seats. I'm getting my youngest one out of her car seat, and I see that lady. I see her, and I know it's her because her voice, taking it to the person that's parked in front of me, their medicine. And I said really loudly, it's really astonishing to me that some people can get their medicine brought out to them, but I have to get my 3 kids out and go in the store. And she was
yes, he did.
She was like, ma'am, if you just want to put them back in the car, I'll go get it for you. And I was like, well, I've already got them out now, and then we had to like silently walk into Walmart together. It was so awkward. It was so awkward. And I was so mad. Look, my youngest was in her pajamas. That's the only way I could get her to go to Walmart. Yeah. I have this like massive mat in the back of my hair from where I've been like laying in the bed sketching during the day. Okay. Mm-hmm. We look awful, and I have to walk into Walmart. I mean, I'm going to be on the People of Walmart website. You watch.
No, you're not.
You watch.
No, you're not.
That pharmacy tech's going to make sure of it, friend.
You know what? I bet that pharmacy tech is on that website on her own spare time, so let's not even joke ourselves.
You about made me spit out my Diet Sam's Cola.
Just based on her attitude alone, I can tell what she wears to Walmart in her spare time.
God. And it was so awkward. And I felt bad because Amber can contest that I'm not a confrontational person. And you know that. Like, I run from confrontation.
You
but
do.
She really upset me. And I was really frustrated. And I just went off on her. And, I shouldn't have done that. It probably wasn't the greatest to do in front of my kids either.
No. You didn't yell at her. You didn't swear. No. You didn't call her names.
I might have sworn. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. I didn't call her any names. That's for sure. I didn't threaten her, but I might have sworn. So
let the record state she did not swear.
You don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so who are we talking about this week? I don't know, and I've been dying to know.
So you know nothing about it, right?
To my knowledge. I mean, who knows? I have memory issues. Early onset dementia.
No, it's actually a lesser known story, to be fair. It's one that I've heard about because I listen to a lot of other podcasts. And so this is one of those stories that's like kind of been tucked back in my brain that I forget about from time to time.
Right.
And I know that we've been covering a lot of murder lately, a lot of missing persons, a hell of a lot of unsolved cases. And so I thought I want to do something a little different. I'm not really in the cult mood yet because, cults kind of...
I'm not in the cult mood yet. Gotta be in the mood for a cult.
I mean, you kind of do. And for some reason, this story just popped up in my brain, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this one because not many people know about it.
Okay.
In a nutshell, back in 2004, this middle-aged and very pissed off businessman named Marvin Heemeyer decided to play Dr. Frankenstein with some construction equipment and take out revenge on everyone who's ever wronged him in this tiny little town in Colorado.
Okay.
And the kicker, God told him to do it.
Oh my.
Because doesn't he always? Well, let me just say this up front. God definitely did not tell this man to do this. And that's coming from a Southern Baptist Christian, y'all. So today I'm covering the crazy story of the Killdozer, which was a national news story over some small town bullshit.
And you said this was in 2000 what?
2004.
Wow. So not that long ago.
Not that long ago, but it is kind of that long ago. I will also preface this with the actual day of the events is very interesting, but there is a lot of
gossip.
He said, she said, a lot of gossip. There's just so much involved, but you have to know those details in order to get to how he came to this conclusion of wreaking havoc on this town. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over several years, and there's a lot of details. So
it's okay. Spill that tea about that dozer.
Marvin John Heemeyer was born on October 28th, 1951 in Castlewood, South Dakota, to parents John and Augusta Heemeyer. And he had 3 siblings, 2 brothers, Ken and Donald, and 1 sister, Kathy. There's not a lot about his childhood, but what we do know is he grew up in a very religious Christian household, but not in the bad sense from what I understand. It was very positive, very uplifting. Family attended church every Sunday.
Okay, so not like a cult is what you're saying.
No cult.
Okay.
No. Just very positive. His mother always told him, no matter what happens to you, God has a plan for your life. Don't get down on yourself. Keep going. Take it a day at a time kind of thing.
All right. So a good childhood is what you're telling me.
A good childhood by all accounts that I understand.
Okay.
He was not a good student, though. And I'm not sure if this because he wasn't book smart or if he was, he just didn't apply himself. But he did graduate literally at the bottom of his class.
Some people don't test well. There's lots of reasons for bad grades. It doesn't necessarily mean like you have a low IQ or, whatever.
So after graduating high school, college was obviously out of the question. So in 1969, he decided to join the Air Force and moved to Lowry Air Force Base in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
He spent 8 years in the military and did very well, even spent some time in Germany. And then after being honorably discharged, he decided to move back to Denver, Colorado, because he just fell in love with the area and all of its beautiful scenery and mountain ranges.
Yes.
If you've never been to Colorado, just do a quick Google image search. You'll see why.
I've never been, but love to look at pictures of Colorado. Dream of going there.
Right? Like, I get it. I'd move there too. During Marvin's military stint, he developed a very real professional skill for welding and really just loved working with his hands. So once he moved back to Denver after the military, he got a job being a welder at Scotty's Muffler Shop.
Okay.
But he had much bigger dreams than just being the muffler guy. He wanted to be a successful businessman. So after working there and saving up some of his money, he and a friend named Cliff Uty went in together and decided to purchase their own Scotty's Muffler Shop as a franchise in 1978. But unfortunately, Scotty's Muffler Shop, the company, filed for bankruptcy shortly after this.
Oh.
But it worked out in their favor a little bit because it led to a bunch of other open shops that they sold to them for dirt cheap. So they purchased 3 more locations in exchange for taking over the debt.
Oh, okay.
So now they have 4 stores. But bad luck struck again because they struggled with those debts and couldn't ever fully recover. And this caused grief in their relationship. They were friends, but business partners not so much. So they decided to sell 2 of those 4 locations and went their separate ways, each taking one of their own.
Oh, okay.
Cliff's did not really work out very well. From what I understand, I think he filed for bankruptcy afterwards. But Marvin's took off, and he did really well.
Well, good.
It did so well that he ended up selling it for a large profit and used that profit to open up another location in Boulder, Colorado in 1980. So his dreams of being a businessman are starting to really take off.
Love to hear of a veteran doing good.
By 1991, his profits continued to grow, and he had opened, managed, and then sold several different muffler shops in the Colorado area. So Marvin was doing really well for himself. Life was good. He was just raking in that muffler money. And I am not in the real estate business because I am poor. But from what I understand, no real estate career is perfect. You have wins, you have losses. And so he did hit some financial bumps in the road. For example, he lost $57,000 over a land deal in Taponis, Colorado. God, I hope I'm saying that right. He also decided to try to switch things up. Rather than the muffler shops, he decided to try to take over an apartment complex. But that ended up in foreclosure, so he's not real good with apartments, but he's great with muffler shops. Stick to what you know, people.
Stay in your lane, buddy.
In the fall of 1990, an employee of his named Doug Brandstander asked if he could buy one of his muffler shops. Like, he was a little Marvin up and coming. Like, hey, I've been working in this shop for a while. I want to do what you're doing. Can I take over one of your shops? And he was like, sure. So he sold it to him. More money in the bank for Marvin.
Yes.
And he had so much money at this point that he could essentially retire. This dude is 39 years old and he can retire.
Sounds like he should have. And then he wouldn't have been on our podcast. So that's what you should have done, Marvin.
But he did try to. He thought, you know what? I've got a nice little bank account. I don't have really anything to do or manage. I'm just going to live off this money. So that winter, he went on a snowmobiling trip to Grand Lake, Colorado with his friend John Kleiner. And he fell in love with this area too. So much so that he decided to buy a cabin and some land and said, this is where I'm going to retire. I'm going to spend the rest of my days just snowmobiling my little heart out.
Yes.
And he was really, really into snowmobiling. He was even part of a group of fellow riders, and they called themselves the Thursday Crew. Can you guess what they did every Thursday?
They went snowmobiling.
Duh. But he just could not help himself. In March of 1992, Marvin saw another financial opportunity. There was some land for sale in the nearby town of Granby, Colorado, which is about 20 minutes away.
Okay.
There were 2 parcels of land totaling 27 acres, valued at about $109,000. And it was an FDIC sale to be auctioned off in the coming weeks. And his snowmobiling buddy, John Kleiner, was also interested in the property since he was in the auto body repair business. One of the parcels of land had a building with bay doors on it, and he thought, oh, if we go in together, I can use that as one of my businesses.
Yeah.
So they talked to a realtor named Jeff Crane, who said it was a great property, no issues, and it would probably top out at $66,000 selling price. So definitely a steal.
Okay.
So they talked about it, went and looked at it, agreed, and attended the auction in April of 1992. The bidding price started out at $20,000 and finished at a final price of $42,000.
Wow. That is a steal.
So a huge win. Yeah.
Yes.
Bids did go back and forth, though, between Marvin and the original owner of that property named Cody Dochev. Apparently, he had owned the property previously and got into a little financial trouble and had to sell it with the intention of buying it back later.
Oh, okay.
So they showed up at this auction like, oh, we're just going to buy our land back, not knowing that Marvin was there with his buddy. Like, no, we're here to buy it.
Right.
Now, according to Marvin, Cody was pissed, and he and his buddy Gus approached him after the auction, yelling and cussing at him, saying, that's my land. I was supposed to buy it back. It's not yours.
Yeah.
And he didn't know.
Right. I'm sure that guy was devastated. That makes sense. Like, that's your dream land or whatever, and you think you're going to be able to get it back. And
yeah. So according to Marvin, Cody and Gus approached him after the auction, cussing at him, that's my land. And Marvin felt bad and said, you know what? We expected to pay $66,000 for this. We got it for a steal. How about you buy it off of us for the $66,000? You still get it back.
Yeah.
But Cody said that's way too much and stomped off. And this is reportedly, per Marvin, what starts the whole shitstorm of what's going to come.
Oh my.
Now, when Cody and Gus are interviewed, they said this never happened. They said they went to the auction, they lost, and they literally just went home.
So who knows?
This whole episode should really be titled According to Marvin, because it's nothing but he said, she said.
Life according to Marvin.
Yeah. So what they find out is the property that they buy, Gus actually owns the property right next door to him.
Oh, no. Nope.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing right there.
And Gus was very upset, along with Cody, and he says, you know what, Marvin, I'll sell it to you for $17,500. I don't know if he did this to make amends, to offer him a deal, or if he just didn't want to be neighbors with him. I don't know, but he offered to sell his land, that way he could have all of it.
Okay.
Marvin said he would like to, but he wanted to get his new muffler shop up and running first. He didn't want to get in a bunch of debt and not really know where things are going. Right. So he said, you know what, let me get my muffler shop up and running, get that going first, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
So Marvin and John decide to start their plans for the muffler shop, and obviously John for the auto body repair shop. However, there was some sort of oil issue with their property, and I don't know the specifics of it, but something about disposal of oil. Whoever owned the property before them did not do it legally, and there was an issue, and so they had to, I don't know, do something to fix it. Something with the oil, and John saw this as a liability, and he ends up backing out, leaving just Marvin with the property.
Oh my, okay.
So Marvin goes out to start fixing up the buildings and just, cleaning up the property. And the superintendent, Bud Wilson, tells him, oh, by the way, you also need to hook up your water and sewer to the city's system.
Oh.
And he says, if you just come down to the town hall, we'll have a meeting, we'll get all the paperwork and everything squared away, no problem. He's like, all right, cool. So he goes to the town hall meeting, finds out it's going to cost him approximately $100,000 for the equipment, the installation, and the fees to get his sewage hookup.
Girl, if I were not already sitting down in the floor of my closet, I'd have just fell out.
And not only this, but in order to get this hookup, it will require an easement to legally cross into the property next door to him, which, if you remember, is owned by Gus.
Not going well for Marvin the Martian.
No. And yet again, according to Marvin, he went to talk to Gus about this. Like, look, Gus, I know we didn't start off on the right foot, but legally I have to have an easement so I can get this hookup. Can you help a brother out? And Gus refused to cooperate.
Oof.
And he says because he wouldn't originally buy his land when he offered it to him. So Marvin goes, okay, well, I'll buy it from you now. That'll solve my problem. I won't even have to have an easement. It'll just all be my property. I'll buy it from you for the $17,500 that you asked for. According to Marvin, Gus goes, nope, no, it's $20,000. Just being a real jerk about it,
Well, I don't know. Kind of like if you go back to the auction and stuff where they paid $40,000 for something, and then Marvin offered to sell it to him for $60,000. I mean, it's kind of maybe that's where the energy's coming from. You feel me?
Maybe. But Marvin didn't take that way.
No.
He didn't like it, but he's like, you know what? What's another few grand? So he's like, you know what? Fine. $20,000 it is. He said that they agreed. They shook on it, but 3 months went by and could not get any response from Gus, and then he officially declined the offer.
Ooh.
So what does Marvin do? He says, fuck it. And he just opens up the muffler shop in February of 1993 without connecting to the city sewer.
Oh my.
Because at this point, he's realizing just how small this town is. Everyone knows everyone, or everyone else is related to each other. You and I grew up in a small town. You know how that goes.
Oh, yes. I currently live in a small town. I say, oh, yes, I hate small towns. I love the small town I
love small towns, but it's true. And the town of Granby, Colorado, apparently was ran by the Thompson family. They owned Thompson and Sons Excavating Company. Ron Thompson was the vice president of the town board. Dick Thompson was the mayor, and on and on. You can't get away from them. And if you're not in with them, you're out.
Okay.
And Marvin started referring to the town board as the good old boys club. It's their way or the highway. And he felt like he was never going to win. And at this point, I get it. I can see his frustration. But at the same time, you and I both know politics is a real thing. Small town or big town. It's just how the world works. Either build your business and agree with that and do it, or just move. Just get out.
Yeah, just sell it and leave.
But he didn't. He didn't. Now he's realizing that there's also a need for boat storage in this area because there are 2 major lakes nearby, so people like to go out boating, but there's nowhere for them to store their boats in the wintertime. So on his property, he builds a boat storage facility to make even more money and got it ready just in time for summer 1994.
I just felt like this is going in a direction where he didn't get permits or something like that.
That is literally the moral of this story.
Are you joking?
Seriously.
Me?
I'm not joking.
I just feel like with all the other stuff, like him opening the shop without connecting to the city water and sewer, like that's just...
It is literally, once upon a time, there was a law that required a permit.
Right, yeah.
And he got mad and went psycho on a town. It doesn't happen overnight, so that's why I go through the whole history of how these guys end up hating each other and what causes him to take such drastic measures. So he opens up the boat storage facility. Meanwhile, he still hasn't fixed the city sewer hookup issue. He's trying to find ways around it. He even goes and requests that the property be rezoned from industrial to highway general business. I guess he thought if he did that, he wouldn't need that.
Okay.
And the town board approved it, but in the fine print, it didn't actually fix the problem. He still had to hook up to the city sewer.
That's how it is, though. That's how it is.
It really
I've never
is.
had to do business stuff like this, but I can tell you that I've had to do house stuff like this, and it's always some bullshit.
It's always a bunch of hoops you have to jump through.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yes.
And not only this, but Gus, who owns the property next door, decides to sell his property to Cody. So now he has to work with his mortal enemy over granting an easement for the sewer issue.
Oh my gosh.
Marvin decides maybe he should just give up because things don't seem to be working out, and I don't disagree.
Yeah.
He offers to sell the damn property to Cody so he could just have it all. Take it, I'll leave. The land gets appraised for $270,000.
Wow.
So it has gone up since he bought it for the, 42?
Yeah.
That's a big profit.
Well, but it was appraised at 100,000. That's just what he got it. But still, that's a
it's a big leap.
Right, yeah.
Now it's worth $270,000. So he offers it to Cody for $250,000. He even cut him a little deal. He's like, you know what? This isn't working out. I'll give you a deal on my land. Yet again, according to Marvin, Cody said, I'll think about it, and then never got back to him. Now, according to Cody, they shook on it. He agreed. And then Marvin came back and said, nope, now I want to charge you $375,000.
Oh my God.
Nobody knows who said or what happened.
Well, I mean, this is just handshaking. This is no document.
Well, in the South, a handshake is a contract, especially if there's spit involved.
That's right.
But either way, whoever did whatever, it ended up not working out.
Okay.
And on top of that, Cody even takes a step further and buys 21 acres of undeveloped land to the west of the property
Oh my gracious.
in 1999 with plans to build a concrete plant. So he's literally surrounding Marvin's property.
Right.
Marvin decides he's had enough and he takes his problems to town hall, the good old boys club, and starts protesting the construction plans for that concrete plant. To be fair, though, aside from him, not getting along with the guy, him not allowing the easement for his sewer hookup, a lot of the town folk also came out for that because the concrete plant would cause a lot of dust, a lot of noise, a lot of, just kind of an eyesore.
Yeah, it would be an eyesore, but I was thinking like jobs for the community was what I was
Definitely
thinking.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Both sides, there were people that were for it, but there were also people besides Marvin who were against it.
Okay. So it wasn't just Marvin.
It wasn't just Marvin.
Okay.
But the town board did decide, you know what, we see both sides, we'll put it up to a town vote.
Okay.
But that town vote keeps getting pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. Meanwhile, the concrete plant, they start construction.
Oh my gracious.
So it doesn't really matter. Marvin gets pissed enough that he hired a lawyer and says, look at all this bullshit that's happening to me. I can't win. I just want to get my business going and make something of myself. And the lawyer's like, you know what? You actually have a potential lawsuit. Why don't you go around, take some pictures, get some evidence. We'll get a lawsuit together.
Okay.
The land values continue to go up. So Marvin gets his property reappraised and the value is now $395,000.
Holy cow.
So he's like, awesome. Here's another opportunity for me to sell it to Cody and just get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, I'll even cut you a deal on that. Instead of $395, I'll sell it to you for $375. And Cody goes, nope, you blew your chance. I don't want it anymore.
Well, okay.
Since Marvin is stuck on this property, he's still having to pay fines for the sewer hookup issue, because once they realize you still haven't done it, they can fine you, they can kick you out. The land that Cody bought of undeveloped land, Marvin was actually using it to store cars because nobody else was using it.
Right.
And then when Cody bought it, said, oh, all these cars are on my property. And so they fined him for that too. So Marvin pays these fees, but he decides to change his name to Tom Petty. And when he writes the checks for these fees, he writes the words cowards and liars in the memo line of his checks.
Oh, no.
So, like, I'm going to pay you, but I'm going to put you're a liar, you're a coward in the memo area. I just thought that was real petty, but
that is so super
this
petty.
This whole story is petty.
Yes.
But Marvin still had his lawsuit. So the trials for the lawsuit started in May of 2001, and so does the official approval for the concrete plant next door. So even though they've already started construction, the city did approve it. And Cody decides, he decides, look, let's try to meet in the middle. We've got a lot of back and forth. Looks like we're going to be stuck with each other. Let's meet in the middle. He offers him the easement on his property so he can get his hookup.
Oh, well, that was nice.
He'll even pay for the hookup, that $100,000. If he will just drop the lawsuit.
Wow.
Like it's gotten out of hand. I'll do this if you drop the lawsuit and we can just go our separate ways.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Marvin does not do it. He has gone too far to back down now. He ain't going down without a fight.
Ridiculous.
He's like, nope, I'm going forward with this lawsuit against the town. Y'all are going to be sorry.
This story has so much little dick energy. I can't handle it.
Right? Thank you. That is what interested me in this story. Some people will probably fall the fuck asleep, but I was like, this is the dumbest fucking story. Like, this could have been avoided.
Yes, it could have. 1000%.
So Marvin, all big and bad, thinking he had this lawsuit in the bag, goes to court. In the end, over a year later, in April of 2002, the lawsuit is dismissed. So now he is stuck with his property. Nobody's getting fined except Marvin for his own dumb choices, and he's just looking like a real ass.
Yeah, I mean, that he is 100% looking like a real ass, because you could have, like, got everything you needed and moved on with your life had you not been so worried about sticking it to your neighbor.
Exactly. According to Marvin, he went home with his tail between his legs, went to his cabin up on the hill, got in his hot tub, drank a beer, and was like, what the fuck do I do now? And this is when the clouds opened up and God spoke to him, like when he asked Noah to build the ark. Except in this situation, it was a bulldozer. He gave him the divine revelation to go forth and tear shit up.
What the hell?
He chose violence.
Yeah, he chose violence. And in the name of God.
In the name of God, he chose violence. I don't know why I turned into Forrest Gump there.
Yeah, I did too, and we apologize. We don't do good impersonations. Just ignore that.
In June of 2002, Marvin traveled to Fresno, California, and purchased a Komatsu D355A bulldozer for $24,000. But when he brought it home to Granby, Colorado, he parked it out front with a for sale sign. Can you guess why?
No.
He said, God, if this is really what you want me to do, just to make sure, someone will buy this for $33,000.
Oh. What?
He did get an offer, but it was lower than the $33,000. So no buyers, and he took it as a sign.
Oh my God. Okay, first off, if God had really told him to do this, which we all know he did not, but if he had, like, why would you question that? Why would you even test what God was saying you to do?
Because it's the most bananas thing, and God would never ask you to do that.
No. I feel like Marvin Kanye Wested the fuck out of God's prophecy for him. I'm gonna let you finish, but first.
But first, I'm gonna bulldoze some shit. And not only that, but he also did the same thing with his property. He attempted to sell it at an auction and said, God, final chance. If this is really what you want me to do, someone will buy my land for $450,000.
Okay, and here he is being Taylor Swift. I'm gonna let you finish, but first of all, Kanye West has had one of the best careers ever.
And wouldn't you know it, it didn't sell either. It's another sign. This must really be what God wants me to do.
Oh my God. No, he doesn't, bro.
No. So for an entire year and a half, Starting in early summer 2003, he dedicated his entire life to creating this massive, indestructible weapon that he would use to get revenge on the town and all the people who wronged him.
Oh my God.
So he parked the bulldozer in that boat storage building. This way, he could keep the plans and the work that he was doing hidden from everybody. So what he would do is he would only work at night because, he had the neighbors and the town. Yeah. So he would sleep during the day, and then at night, when everyone went home from work and ate dinner and went to bed, that's when he would wake up and work on this machine.
Oh, so he's working third shift.
Oh, yeah. He even set up a small room for himself in the boat storage building, complete with a cot and sheets to sleep on, a small TV, and a bunch of Slim Fast shakes. Because I guess the man's got to eat.
Yeah. He didn't want to put on the pounds while he was working, I guess. I guess. I know.
By the end of completion of this Killdozer creation, it would measure almost 33 feet long and weigh 64 tons. He armored almost the entire outside with thick pieces of steel that he would layer up and then pour concrete in the middle of, making it a foot thick.
Oh my gracious.
And making it essentially bulletproof around the whole outside of it. You know what? Let me show you some pictures.
Okay.
All right, so that is what it looked like when he purchased it. Can you see it?
Okay, yeah. Just regular.
It's a big-ass bulldozer.
Yeah, but it's, nothing alarming about it.
This is what it looked like after he did his shit with it.
What in the hell?
You see how it's got a full armor all the way around it and you can't see in?
That's crazy.
He also installed cameras on all corners of it, sealed with 3-inch bulletproof plastic, and had monitors on the inside so he could view and steer that way when he was driving it.
And see people's reactions. Don't lie, Marvin. You were in it for the reactions, buddy.
Oh, yeah. He also had fans inside for a circulation system to keep himself cool. He even had compressed air in front of the cameras that would blow on it. That way, when he would go through and knock a building down, all the dust and debris from it, it would keep the lens clear so he could still see what he was doing.
He really thought this out.
He thought this all the way out. Oh, yeah, and a bunch of guns, because you can't have a Killdozer without a bunch of guns.
Like attached?
Mm-hmm. Okay. He had 3 separate gun ports. One of them was armed with a 50 cal rifle. One of them was armed with a 308 semi-automatic rifle, and the other one with a 22 long rifle. And then just for extra measure on the inside where he steered, he kept a 357 revolver with him.
Oh my God.
Okay. So he was planning to fuck shit up.
Yeah, he was.
In the months leading up to the event, around March 2004, Marvin's father passed away. He did attend the funeral in Castlewood, South Dakota, but used this opportunity, talking about planning shit out, used this opportunity to not only attend the funeral, but deposit his own money into his deceased father's account in small increments. So that way, regardless of what ends up happening, all the destruction he causes, he won't have a penny to his name to pay for it. Whether he dies or goes to jail, they can't come for him.
He's a pissed off individual.
He also decided to make some audio tapes so that after he's gone, everyone will know exactly why he decided to do this. No one will wonder.
Can we listen to these audio tapes? I need to know now.
The tapes are about 2.5 hours long, segment to segment, and are his manifesto. They are online. We will link them in the show notes if you really are into that. But for example...
I wish your face. I so wish people could see your face when you said that. If you're really into that.
They're so boring. But, for example, he says, quote, "God built me for this job. I think God will bless me to get the machine done, to drive it, to do the stuff that I have to do. God blessed me in advance for the task that I am about to undertake. It is my duty. God has asked me to do this. It's a cross that I'm going to carry, and I'm carrying it in God's name." End quote.
Marvin, buddy, you were going through a storm.
And what he's referring to, he never got married, never had kids, just was a very successful businessman. And so he wondered, why, God, why am I so successful and I have no one to share that with? And he said, oh, because in the end, God wanted me to do this.
No, it's because you're a psychopath with little dick energy. That's why you didn't get married and have kids.
And this all brings us to the day of, on June 4th, 2004. If you've made it this far, congratulations. This is the crescendo of the events. On June 4th, 2004, Marvin's giant Killdozer doesn't just exit the boat storage building. It blows through the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Because it has to. You got to start out with a bang. And he literally set out to wreak havoc on the small town of Granby, Colorado. He went for his main enemy first, Cody Dochev. He went to the concrete plant next door, tore it down, then went to town hall, tore it down. He also hits up the local newspaper office, Sky High News. I left this part out because it was just more bullshit. But basically, he decides to start writing articles to an editor at the newspaper about how dumb he is. And they start publishing each other's answers in the newspaper. So they have like a public feud. Yeah. He decides to hit up the hardware store. He destroys a bank. He destroys the local library.
What the hell? Now, come on, Marvin. That's too damn far.
That's way too far. Those books didn't do nothing to you.
Nothing.
He also destroyed several homes, one of them belonging to a previous judge. Everything that he hit up was owned or operated by someone he felt had wronged him since he moved to that town. Okay. He didn't just hit any random building. It was very calculated, very planned out. He was seeking vengeance.
Okay, but so did no one in all this, like, stretch their lazy bones and be like, holy shit, there's a dozer, we should do something?
They do. They do. When he first busts out and starts for the concrete plant, local police immediately show up on the scene. I can't remember her name, but this lady in the town calls and was like, hey, 911, there's a fucking bulldozer wreaking havoc on the town. What the hell's going on? Police show up, Sheriff's Department, Colorado State Patrol, the Forest Service, even SWAT and the National Guard come out. Helicopters and all.
Well, I mean, that I'm feeling like that's the only people they're going to be able to stop is National Guard. I don't know what a police car is going to do. I mean, if it's bulletproof and stuff, so probably the right call there.
They tried everything. They could not stop him. They shot at it. Obviously, it's bulletproof. And this did nothing but piss him off. He was obviously armed with large guns, and he started shooting at the police officers who were shooting at him. Police decided to use the reverse 911 system, which I never really thought about until this story. But the reverse 911 system acts as a way to alert the town to be like, get the fuck out or hunker down.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a thing until I was researching
I didn't know it was
story.
Either.
Owners of other tractors and construction equipment, because, the good old boys, including Cody Dochev himself, attempted to get their equipment out and start, battle botsing it out. Like, hey, let me see if I can stop you.
Is there video footage of this? There
is a lot of footage of it.
Okay, good, because I just want to see the tractors and bulldozers. Like that, I don't...
Yes.
The rest of it is whatever, but I just want to see that.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild. There's tons of footage on it. Another man named Glenn Trainer, I think he was part of the Sheriff's Department, he somehow managed to physically crawl on top of the Killdozer to try to get inside to stop Marvin. And he said it was covered in either oil or grease to make it slippery. And he did that on purpose because he knew people would try to do that. Even with that, was still able to get on top of it and rode it around for a while, trying to find a way in, like a latch or a door. And it was literally sealed shut.
Oh my God.
Luckily, around 5 o'clock that afternoon, the Killdozer started smoking and leaking fluid. The engine was overheating. Marvin, at this point, had made his way to wrecking the Gamble's hardware store, and it got stuck in the rubble and just completely shut down. He got stuck in it and just game over.
Yeah.
He was surrounded by police, and Marvin decided, I ain't going out like that, and he had one last plan, and he put the .357 revolver in his mouth and pulled the trigger.
Oh my God.
Killed himself. Authorities heard the gunshot because obviously they couldn't get inside, but they heard it.
Right.
This was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It took them until 2 a.m. the next morning to finally cut through all the steel and the concrete to find his body inside.
Holy shit, that is crazy.
So, hell was finally over. In the end, Marvin's Killdozer tortured the people of Granby, Colorado for 2 hours and 7 minutes, knocking down 13 buildings and causing $7 million worth of damages. But thank God, only one casualty, Marvin himself. Nobody else was hurt or died in the process.
Oh, I'm glad of that. But my God, I mean, obviously people lost their homes and stuff. Like,
yeah, it was bad.
What the fuck, Marvin?
After everything was said and done, authorities searched Marvin's cabin and his shed afterwards and found several notes and hit lists, like I was telling you about. One of the notes said, quote, "I was always willing to be reasonable until I had to be unreasonable. Sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things." End quote.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's just like, there is no reasoning with this. Like, so he's so full of shit. And the thing is, he wasn't reasonable. Like, old boy was like, yo, hey, you can have an easement and I'll even pay for it if you drop the lawsuit. But no.
And that was towards the end. He had several options.
Yeah. That's just the most current one I could think of. Like, no, Marvin. Sorry. That is a stupid quote from a deranged person.
Marvin Heemeyer died at 52 years old. He'd never married and had no children. What friends he did have decided to scatter his ashes up on a mountaintop that they went to when he would snowmobile. As for the Killdozer, the town decided to scrap it in 2005 so that nobody else would come along and either attempt to steal it or use it.
Right, yeah.
Which I totally understand. But yeah, that is the fucking wild story of Marvin Heemeyer and the Killdozer. So it made national news.
Yeah, which is wild. Like, why did we not hear about this?
Because literally the day after this happened, Ronald Reagan died and it was gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
There's a really good documentary on Netflix, which I didn't even realize was out until I was doing my research. And I was like, oh, there's a documentary in 2020?
Ooh.
It's called Tread. It's only like an hour and 20 or 30 minutes. It's a really easy watch. They do go through the whole rigmarole of all the bullshit I talked about, but they do show a lot of reenactments and a lot of really good footage of the Killdozer going through town and just fucking shit up that I just cannot paint myself. It was just way too much damage. You really have to see it for yourself.
Well, I'm going to be.
But what kills me, and what is very strange to me, is that there are a lot of people that stand by this man and call him a patriot and a hero.
How?
Why?
You're hurting innocent people's lives. Like, first off, I'm sorry, the library's never done anything but help people.
I love how you and I are both stuck on the library. Like, you can fuck up town hall all you want to. Leave the library alone.
What the fuck? Well, in the hardware store, what'd they do? Overcharge you for a tool? Like, get the fuck over yourself. I'm sorry. No. This man, if he hated this town so much, what he should have done was cut his fucking losses forever ago and left.
Just leave. You obviously know what you're doing in the business world. What is one muffler shop in a tiny town in Colorado gonna do?
No.
You're gonna lose a little bit of money. Go somewhere else and start over.
No, anybody that believes somebody is a patriot or a good person for taking out people's homes and businesses and libraries and hardware stores and like essential things people need in a community, I'm sorry, you could not be more wrong. That's awful.
I couldn't have said it better. This man clearly had some very deep-rooted anger that may have not even started in this small town. It might have been something from childhood that we don't know about or are aware of. It could have been mixed with some probable mental health issues that were undiagnosed.
Right. I think he really had a big ego about himself, is what I think.
And way too much money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he kept talking about how successful he was, and I don't doubt that he's successful, but like it seems like he was really stuck on that aspect of his life, and that's all that really mattered to him. So I think also a big ego at play here. But I'm so glad. Look, I am so glad nobody was hurt. Okay, I hate all those businesses and homes and stuff, but I'm glad nobody was hurt besides Marvin.
Good riddance.
Good riddance, dude.
Hope God's really patting you on the back for this one.
I just feel like he was riding through the town listening to like the Taylor Swift song, Now We've Got Bad Blood.
Oh my God.
And I brought it full circle, bitch. I brought it full circle.
Love our podcast? Then hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
We're also on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/truecrimebuzz and join today for access to all our exclusive content, including bonus episodes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TC Buzz Podcast.
And check out our website at www.truecrimebuzz.com.
Until next time, cheers!